Alright, so this is my review of the movie Passengers, directed by Andre. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm just not gonna try. This film follows a couple that stops to help someone that crashed on the side of the road. They're haunted by some evil entity that basically just follows them around throughout the entire story. It's really your typical like horror movie tropes. They don't really do anything that kind of separates themselves from other horror movies. To be honest, it was kind of hard to pay attention just because of how boring it is. I think the best part of this film is probably the cinematography, and not even throughout the entire film, just certain parts with the long takes. I think that the long takes of the film was really creative, and the DP Federico Verardi, I hope I'm saying that right. I have my notes pulled up here. But he makes really good use of those long takes, builds a lot of suspense, and low-key kept me on the edge of my seats sometimes. But then whenever those parts were ended, it pulled me right back to just the boringness and the genericness of this film. I think one good example I could give of that cinematography, the long takes being used, is during the parking lot scene where the lady, this film is this film is so unmemorable. It's just I don't even know the characters' names. The lady tries to go back to her car after leaving her boyfriend at the gym, her fiance at the gym, and she is being followed, and there's lights flickering and stuff, and the cinematographer does a bunch of these arc shots just following around her, but every time he does a loop around our main character, the Mercedes van kind of vanishes and gets further, and he does this a couple of times, just back to back, and I really didn't get bored during that sequence. I thought it was super interesting, but that honestly was probably my favorite part of the movie. I think another part of the movie that they did pretty good on, the DP did pretty good on, is the beginning sequence. It's these two friends in the car, and they're kind of just driving around. One of them needs to go piss, and then they pull off on the side of the road, whatever. And then there's the killer that comes and kills the driver. And then when the friend stops pissing, he comes back in the car. There's this really cool one really long arc shot where the camera's like inside the car and it does this like rotating thing. It's really suspenseful. It kind of dragged me into the film. But then once we get to the main story, it kind of pulls you back out just because of, again, how generic it is. It's so generic, I don't know any of the characters' names. I also low-key forgot the whole like demon aspect of it. I know the entity was some like Christopher Columbus, some bullcrap, I don't really know. But it just wasn't that interesting. It wasn't interesting enough for me to remember. It wasn't interesting enough for me to honestly write this review well. But yeah, that's kind of my review of the film. I don't really recommend this film. I don't really know any other films by this director, to be honest with you, so I didn't go in with too many expectations. I actually went in with no expectations and just went in because my AMC Stubs member list gives me like 4 free movies a week. So I was just like, new movie came out, why not, next week this week I'll be seeing The Backrooms, so I'll be sure to give y'all a review on that as well. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys a short movie review. Nothing too crazy. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.